Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of JAtalks. My name is Jasam, and today we'll be talking about the shocking allegations by the JTA president Mark Malabva. He would have indicated that people in the shelteries are having sex in view of children. Stay tuned, we'll be right back with you with more news. Alright, now so we continue with the news. So regarding this, Manavla, JTA president says Melissa Shelteries having sex in view of students. Now I want to get into this, but before I do that, I'm going to drop a video. This was by George Davis and what he said on Nationwide 90 FM. Alright, so let's watch this clip and we'll be right back.
Mr. Malava, you were spoken to in confidence, you told the minister. And you couldn't speak to the minister in confidence about something as serious as this? Serious enough for you to keep your powder dry until the platform of the JTA annual conference opened up for you. You bellowed this information to your constituents, knowing that only you knew. And you bellowed it to your constituents, knowing that your comments would be picked up by the media. And when the media picked it up and did its job, and then the minister called you, because clearly they were caught, the Ministry of Education was caught unawares. The Ministry of Local Government caught unawares. Labor and Social Security caught unawares. Education Minister called you. Mr. President, give me the information so I can move to resolve it. You say you can't talk? So who will resolve it then, Mr. Malava? You? Will the JTA go and resolve this situation? Is resolution of the situation in the gift of the JTA? Can you do more to resolve it than the Ministry of Education? If you can't resolve it, why are you keeping the information to yourself? If you feel it important enough to talk about it on a national platform, well, on a platform that will be amplified nationally. If it is so serious, why do you refuse to give the authorities the information to address what you say is a serious matter? It don't make sense, sir. Calls into question how serious we are about the children. Because your lament, at the heart of your lament, was how children were seeing this thing in the schools. And the people responsible for ensuring that children don't experience that in schools asked you for the information and you don't give them the information. So how it going to fix? What is it that I am not understanding about Mr. Malava's position in this matter?
All right, so that was the video. First one with the education minister, actually, Dr. Donna Morris Dixon. And then I have another one as well. I have another one to play. So hold on to this one as well while I play this one.
The Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information wants to note that we do not have any official notification of any case of inappropriate behavior by shelteries, especially in circumstances involving children at any school being used as a shelter. And we have made many checks since Mr. Malava has made his public statement. We have checked with the regional director, Dr. Michelle Pinnock, and she has indicated that she has not received any such report. She has also checked with the principals, and they have indicated that they have no reports of that nature. In addition to that, we have our safety and security officer routinely doing visits to the schools, and they have not received any reports, neither have the shelter managers that routinely work with these shelter locations. Nevertheless, we've asked the principals to do some extraordinary checks to see if there are any reports or any teacher that has witnessed what has been reported. The ministry has to note that the care and protection of our children is of utmost importance.
Okay, no, so I wanted to go into this because there's a lot to talk about, Mr. Malabver, and he has been, the first time I came to the understanding and the knowledge of these individuals back in 2025, in August of 2025, and I'll get there. But essentially, he is saying that students are having sex in view. Now, it is important that we focus on the word in view of students because it can be interpreted differently. But the predominant interpretation in view means that they're having sex in front of children, or they're having sex and children are able to see them have sex. That is the predominant ideology of in view of students. And so you would have come to the JTA conference and you made such a grand claim, eh? Eh? You came to the JTA and you made such a grand claim that students are having sex in view of adults. Now, I want to look into that specifically because here's the thing: what we need to understand that this is a very serious claim. You can't just come at a conference and make a claim like that and we just brush over it. You can't do that. This is children. Whenever children are involved, it is extremely important, and so automatically investigations need to take place. You can't just come and make a grand claim like that and we just brush over it. So, what happens then is that this is going to stimulate some investigation. It is also important to note that the Ministry of Education was caught off guard. They didn't know of this. So when you made this grand claim at the conference, the Ministry of Education did not know of this. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security did not know of this. The Ministry of Local Government did not know of this. CCPA, the Child Care Protection, members of the Child Care no, not a CCPA, man, a lie. That's the act. But I remember their name. Oh my gosh, I don't remember their names. CDA, I think it's a CDA. The CDA was not aware of this. The police does not know of this. Nobody knows of this. And you knew of this for 2 weeks. So for the past 2 weeks, you were aware of this and you sat on this information and you waited until the conference to make this claim. You waited for the conference to come and you made this claim. And so it begs a question because you were speaking about the children and the children need to be protected, and the reason you're making this report is because of the children. We need to safeguard the children, and it begs the question, is it really for the children? Because remember, if the children needs protection and the children are at risk of being exposed to indecency and sexual acts, then you are supposed to do the right thing and make the request, make the reports to the relevant authority. You knew of this information for 2 weeks and said nothing. You knew of this information for 2 weeks and said nothing. And then no, let's just add to add salt to the injury. That's all, our salt to the wound. or to add insult to the injury rather, the ministry or the minister of education reached out to you and asked you for the name of the school, and you said, right, or, well, according to the Ministry of Education, um you can't give out the information because you're protecting the school out of confidentiality. It was mentioned to you out of confidentiality, and so because of that, you can't give out the information. That's what you said. So, before I go any further, right? Again, Mr. Malabva, it's not the first time you've been in the spotlight. Previously, in when August, at least about a week before the general election was called, you wanted to take the government. You threatened the government. You gave the government an ultimatum of industrial action for raise of pay for the teachers. You essentially said that if the teachers don't get a raise of pay by X amount of time, we are going to strike. And the strike was going to take place during the election season. But it never so bad. Here's the thing. This is after Andrew Holness would have um called the election and dissolved Parliament. So so Parliament dissolved. The ministers aren't supposed to be doing any new policy or implementing anything major. They're only supposed to do caretaker work, but they're not supposed to take on anything new because guess what? That's not their job. During and Barrett, you're not supposed to do anything because it doesn't look good, because if you're making any changes during the election cycle or during the election season, especially after Parliament has been dissolved, especially 1 week before the election, it is going to be looked as though you're trying to win over the people and the vote of the people. It is going to be looked as though you're trying to win over the vote of the people. You're trying to persuade the people by all of a sudden performing. So this is not the first time you'd have done something like this. But I was doing some research though. Okay, so I'm gonna go through everything. I did some research, and here, this is what I have. Alright, so the statutory breach, the Child Care and Protection Act. This is the most critical layer under the Section 6 of the Child Care and Protection Act, CCPA, mandatory reporting as a teacher ahead of a professional body. He is a prescribed person. This means he is legally non-negotiable duty is to report any suspicion of a child being in moral danger or in need of care, which includes witnesses slash exposure to sexual acts. The immediate clause as well. The law requires reporting immediately. By his own admission, he waited 2 weeks to mention it at a conference. In the eyes of the law, a 14-day delay while children are being potentially in danger is a direct violation. Confidentiality breach. He claims he couldn't name the school due to confidentiality. However, Section 6 of 5 of the CCP explicitly states that the duty to report child endangerment overrides any duty of confidentiality, using privacy as a reason to withholding the location of the crimes is a secondary breach of this act. The confidentiality layer, Charter of the Fundamental Rights. While the Constitution doesn't list reporting rules, it guarantees the rights of the child under Section 13(3)(k). No, state protection. It guarantees every child the right of such measures of protection as are required by the statutes of a minor. The breach by withholding the specific details, the school's name, from the Ministry of Education and the police, he is actively preventing the state from fulfilling its constitutional mandate of protecting those children. The professional layer as well. Now, there's also the JTC. The Jamaica Teaching Council Act of 2022. Now, as a licensed teacher, he is governed by the JTC Act, fit and proper person. So, To hold a license to teach in Jamaica, one must be a fit and proper person. Failing to report a child abuse or using such claim for political leverage can be classified as a professional misconduct, revocation of license. If he is convicted of breach of the CCPA, the teaching council has the powers of revoking his license, meaning he would be legally barred from teaching in Jamaica. Also, the criminal layer as well, public mischief. If it is that it is found his claims were exaggerated or false in order to force the government to close the shelters. One, this public mischief rather. This is a common law offense in Jamaica. It invokes making false statements that causes public alarm or leads to a waste of police/government resources. And so, if their evidence is there, evidence check. Since the Minister of Education has formally asked for the school's name and he has refused, the police can argue that he is obstructing a potential investigation or creating mischief by making a claim he cannot or will not prove. And finally, so in summary, here's a situation: the law versus the fact. The CCPA Section 6 says child safety comes before teaching confidentiality. The time immediately does not mean 2 weeks later at a press conference. You're supposed to make the report immediately. The license as a teacher. A license is a privilege based on the duty to protect students under the duty that can lead to losing his license under the JTC Act. And finally, if he has no evidence, it is public mischief. And if he has evidence and is hiding it, it is obstruction and a breach of the CCPA. So essentially, if there's evidence, it's obstruction of justice. And if there is no evidence, he's been lying, it is public mischief. Regardless of the situation, he should be arrested. This is regarding the Constitution again, and I use the Constitution a lot because specifically what this is saying is that he's in breach. And after he would have made the claims, the Minister of Education, Dr. Donna Morris Dixon, would have reached out, would have tried to reached out to all the schools, all the principals. They still don't know any of this. So again, this is bordering on lie. Yeah, tell lie. And he needs to be arrested and charged. The fine is up to $500,000 or and also 6 months in prison. He needs to be charged. He needs to be arrested. And there's a pattern, right? Now, I would have indicated that he would have tried to provide the government with an ultimatum during the election season, 1 week before the election. What I did not advise you or drop with you is that this individual is a member of the People's National Party. Did I mention it? I don't. Maybe I mentioned earlier. Apologies. Anyways, this individual is a member of the People's National Party, and given that he's a member of the People's National Party, back in 2024, he would have run for the local government election and failed. But that is evidence enough to identify that the individual is a member of the People's National Party. And so it begs the question you want to find out or wonder if the main reason why he's doing this is politically motivated, he's trying to show up the government in some way, he's trying to embarrass the government in some way. And so because of that, he is going all out. His hatred for the Jamaican government is so much so that he's willing to do illegal activities to get the government out. Because there are 3 different breaches that you'd have done so far. I would have read out 3 different breaches that you'd have done so far. You need to be arrested and made a public example of. Because this is embarrassing. This is reckless. For you to come out and make a claim like that is reckless. For you to come out and make a claim like that is irresponsible. It is grossly irresponsible. And if the argument is true, why did you not post a statement? Fine, you say you don't want to tell the police, right? And you don't want to tell nobody. You should have made this statement. The Jamaica Teachers Association, which should have made a public statement. So everybody would see, the police would see, the Ministry of Education would see, everybody would see. You did not do that. Right? You didn't do that. And so that's careless. That is extremely careless. And so, yeah, you need to be arrested. He needs to be arrested and charged for either public mischief or gross misconduct, withholding information from the police and the authorities. You're liable to do that. You're supposed to. As he is a principal, he is a trained teacher, and as such, you are a person who is liable to make the report immediately. You didn't do that, and so, and of course, you're supposed to get training. Every teacher gets training on this. You chose not to, or you were so blinded by your hate by the Jamaican government and the Jamaican Labour Party that you got up and to got out of your way. So it begs the question again, what is the real reason of why you're doing what you're doing? Is it politically motivated? Could it be politically motivated? That's the question. And then a lot of persons now are not going to look for you for credibility. A lot of persons are not going to look to you for or trust in any other information that you're saying because, again, is it a lie you tell or you allow this to happen until you wanted to score some political points against the government? For what, I don't even know. This is embarrassing. This is very much embarrassing. Alright, guys, thank you very much. And so that is it for today's video. Yeah, we would have explored it. And again, if you like my comment, if you like what I do, you can always support me on my Patreon account. And I have my books out, my story out, my Resilient Jamaica Blueprint out as well. So if it is that you like what I do and you want to support me, $5, the link is in the bio. You can always do that. Thank you very much for your support, most definitely. And yes, always remember, please never forget that your independence is the foundation of your liberation. Enjoy it, you guys.